It was a cloudy afternoon. The clouds seemed as heavy as the atmosphere inside that funeral room. The scent of flowers was nauseating, almost suffocating. Every face was silent, but not out of mourning. It felt more like fear. I hadn't seen Helena in years. Our friendship had once been intense, but life had pulled us apart. Still, when I heard about her death, something inside me broke. It wasn't just sadness. It was a strange feeling, like something had been left unfinished. I arrived late. The ceremony had already begun. Few people were there, mostly family, cold and distant. The casket, half closed, revealed only her face, pale, motionless, far too serene. I stepped closer, my heart heavy and my throat dry. I just wanted to say goodbye, just look at her one more time, silently say I was sorry for everything. But in that room, with those flowers, that silence, something felt wrong, and that's when everything began to fall apart. I approached slowly. Each step felt like it echoed inside me. The dark wood of the casket reflected the faint candlelight. The room was cold, but my body was sweating. Helena's face was there, intact, as if she was sleeping. But there was something far too strange about that image. It wasn't sorrow, nor peace. It was as if time hadn't touched her, as if it wasn't exactly death. I stared for a few seconds, without blinking, and that's when it happened. The left eye moved. It wasn't my imagination. It wasn't a reflex. I saw it. I saw it clearly. The eyelid trembled slightly, like an involuntary spasm. My body froze. I tried to look around to see if anyone else had noticed, but everyone kept their heads bowed, as if nothing had happened. I looked back at her. Nothing. Still again. But now, what was supposed to be a moment of farewell was turning into a growing nightmare. I leaned in a little closer, and then I heard it. A whisper, low, hoarse, coming from there. You came. Don't leave me here. My legs gave out. I took a step back. The world was spinning. My heart was pounding so hard it almost hurt, but no one reacted, as if only I had heard it. For a few seconds, I thought I was having a breakdown. Grief, exhaustion. Maybe my mind was playing tricks on me, trying to make sense of the absurdity of death. But that whisper, it didn't feel like a memory. It was real. It wasn't in my head. I heard it clearly. And the worst part, it came from the casket. I stood there, frozen, trying to understand. I looked around. No one had reacted. No one turned. No one lifted their head. As if I were completely alone in that moment. Took a deep breath and stepped closer again. My trembling hand gripped the side of the casket. My forehead was sweating. My eyes locked on her face, waiting, dreading any new movement. But Helena didn't move. And for a few seconds, everything went silent. Truly silent. Absolute. No sounds. Not the ants sobbing. Not the whisper of prayers. Not even the world outside. It was as if time had stopped. That's when I heard it again. It wasn't just any sound. It was her. Why Can't anyone hear me? My body froze. The voice was muffled, almost faded, but clear. It was as if it came from somewhere very deep, as if the casket itself was speaking. I looked around in desperation, searching for confirmation, a frightened glance, any sign that someone else had heard it. But no, nothing. Everything remained the same. In that moment, a horrifying certainty formed inside me. She was trying to communicate, and I was the only one who could hear her. I tried to speak, to explain what I had heard. My voice came out trembling, almost a whisper, afraid of what they might think. "Did you hear that?" I asked, but was met with blank stares and disbelief. My relatives looked away, pressed their lips together, as if it was madness invented by my broken heart. "It's just nerves," they said. "The mind plays tricks at times like these." My uncle, the oldest in the family, gave me a tired look and spoke firmly. "These are natural bodily reactions. A spasm, nothing more than that." But I knew it was more than that. Something inside me screamed that explanation wasn't enough. As everyone slowly drifted away, I felt more isolated than ever. The feeling that Helena was there, present in some way, wouldn't let me breathe. My chest tightened more, and a strange chill ran down my spine. The silence in the room seemed to grow, each second heavy like a sentence. I wanted to believe it was all just the pain of loss. But when I closed my eyes, I could hear, like a distant echo, that same whisper. "You came. Don't leave me here." At that moment, I realized her death wasn't what everyone believed. Something dark was happening, something no one wanted to face. And me. I had to find out the truth, even if it cost me my sanity. Even with my heart in panic, I tried to insist. I went to my cousin, who was organizing the funeral, and asked to see the body again. I asked to have the casket fully opened, just for a moment. I needed to see with my own eyes, to remove that suffocating doubt from my chest. But she looked at me like I was crazy. "Do you think she's going to rise from the dead and say hi?" She mocked, trying to laugh, but there was something in her eyes, a hesitation, a subtle discomfort, as if she had felt something too. Even so, she refused. She said it was disrespectful, that they were already heading to the burial, that I needed to accept it. "She's gone," they all repeated. But it felt like they were trying to convince me, or convince themselves. I felt a cold rage building inside. This wasn't right. Everything was wrong. The casket being closed in a hurry. The quiet ceremony, almost without tears. The whisper, the eye that blinked, and now the refusal to look at the body again. But I was overruled. The family had made up their minds. The funeral workers took the casket, and I stood there, frozen, powerless, as the hearse pulled away. I placed a hand over my chest, as if something had been ripped from me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed everything in my mind. What I saw, what I heard, what I felt. And the more I thought, the more a sinister idea began to take shape. What if she was still alive when they buried her? That possibility pounded in my mind like a countdown clock. And then something inside me decided I had to go to the cemetery alone before it was too late. I woke up at 3 in the morning with my heart racing. Or maybe I never slept at all. The image of her inside that coffin wouldn't leave my mind. The whisper, the eye movement, the sound of her voice. It was impossible to pretend it hadn't happened. I got in the car without thinking too much. The cemetery was about 30 minutes outside the city, isolated, on top of a hill. The road was dark, with low fog and twisted trees swaying in the wind. Every kilometer felt like it was taking me deeper into something I couldn't undo. When I arrived, the gate was closed. I climbed over it with difficulty, feeling the cold slice through my skin and branches scratch my arms. My phone's flashlight trembled in my hand. I didn't even know exactly what I expected to find. I just knew I couldn't ignore it. I walked among the tombstones like I was in another world, a forgotten place where time had stopped. And then I reached her grave. The soil was still fresh. The makeshift wooden cross trembled in the wind. I knelt down, my trembling hand touching the ground. I didn't have the courage to do anything else. That's when I heard it, knocking. Slow, weak, but unmistakable thump, thump, thump. It was like someone was knocking. From inside. My heart nearly stopped. I jumped to my feet, looked around. No one. The darkness seemed to wrap around me. And then came the final blow. My phone, vibrated. A call, no number, no name. Just the word unknown on the screen. And when I answered, there was only one thing on the other end. Breathing, low, fading, but alive. And then the voice that froze me to the bone. You heard me, but you didn't save me. The call dropped. I stood there in the dark, phone still pressed to my ear. Her breathing still echoed in my mind. It wasn't just fear. It was guilt. A guilt that began to grow inside me, as if something had entered me that night and never left. In the days that followed, everything began to unravel. My phone would ring in the middle of the night, always from a hidden number. When I answered, no one spoke, just that muffled sound, like someone trying to scream for help with a mouth full of dirt. The walls of my house started creaking at night. The lights flickered every night at 3:17 a.m., the exact time of the burial. And in one of the dreams, I saw her, Helena, inside the coffin, eyes open, staring at me, fingers bloodied from trying to claw her way out. You promised you wouldn't leave me there. I began researching ancient legends, similar cases, and then I discovered something terrifying. The curse of the sealed coffins. Some cultures believe that if someone is buried unjustly, without a proper farewell, without the truth being revealed, the soul doesn't move on. It stays trapped between worlds, trying to communicate, trying to be heard. But the more it tries, the more it loses its mind. And then the curse spreads, first to the one who heard, then to the ones who ignored. Now I understand. She didn't want revenge. She just wanted out. But it was already too late. And every night when the phone rings, I answer, even knowing I can't do anything, even knowing that one day it'll be my turn to knock from the inside. Since that day, I was never the same again. And if one day you hear knocking coming from the ground, don't ignore it. It might be someone who's still alive, or worse, someone who still remembers you. If this story gave you chills, subscribe to the channel now, because this was only the beginning. In the next videos, you'll hear even darker accounts, cases that defy logic, and stories that maybe were never meant to be told.